With some of the projects we wish to carry out on our computer, one of those may be that you want to sort your images into a running order in Bridge and then perhaps batch rename them so they retain that order. A slideshow perhaps may be a talk to your camera club. Now here I've used collections in Bridge, which I made a video on that subject too. I use collections to identify this group of balloons and I've copied them to my project folder. So now I can select any image. Let's pick up this one and I can drag that into that position. If I wanted these two images split up, I can drag this one up to the top. If I wanted to move a couple at the same time, maybe a couple of red ones, I can highlight them both, put them between those two there, and so on. Now, once I've done that, and I've got quite a few here, but we only need to demonstrate one or two, if I hit Ctrl A to select them all, go to any one of these and right-click, I can choose Batch Rename. Now we do have quite a few options that appear in this particular window. Right at the top we have the opportunity for a preset, last used, default, string substitution, whatever that is, but I never actually make any changes here. I usually rename my images in the same folder. That's quite an important thing to show in a few moments' time. But we can move them to another folder or even copy them to another folder. But here's the bit we're really interested in. We can have quite a bit of information shown. Let me just hit this little minus here and that'll reduce that. So what I'm going to do is batch rename these using text. Now I'm using BD- just for Beckham Digital. But I can just put a number in there if I wanted to. But let's just hit the plus again and you see why that second option was there. Because in this option I can choose a sequence number. I can choose whether it's a single digit, double digit or 3 digits. I usually find 3 digits meets all of my needs, and I can even place in here by just highlighting and typing where I want the numbering to start from. Down here we've got other options which I never concern myself with. I just rename all of my images from that point. And there you can see they all reflect exactly what I've just asked. Now when I bring you into Windows Explorer, we can see all of those images are labelled just as I intended, from 001 to 061. But it's quite important to remember that we're working on copies here, because once we've renamed these images, there's no going back to the previous name. So it's very important when we're going about any of our projects to easily copy images to the location you're working. In this window, I've opened up a very small batch of raw files, and the one that's highlighted hasn't been edited at all. If I were to double click this thumbnail, it would open up into Adobe Camera Raw for me to put in place the edits I wanted. But there are times when we just want to send a quick image to a friend or member of the family. And in that case, we can bypass Adobe Camera Raw, hold the Shift key and double click the thumbnail, and the image will open up directly into Photoshop. Now, coming back for a moment to my batch renamed and sorted balloon shots, I'd like to draw your attention to filters. Again, something I don't use very often, but I have found it quite useful. Down here, grouped with collections, I've got filters, and I can drag this boundary up. Because let's just assume here, and this has happened to me a few times, I want to see how many images that I shot with a long lens. Well, I can see I shot one with a 300mm lens, and if I tick the box, there's the one. If I untick the box and I want to see all of those that were shot with a wide angle lens, well, here's 28mm. If I tick the box, I'm shown just those 14. Now there's many other ways you can filter images, and I think it's something you need to look at yourself. As you can see just above, we can actually choose the ISO as well. So I shot one image, let's untick that. I shot one image at 400 ISO, and that's the image, and when we see it, we can see exactly why 400 ISO was selected, a night shot. But the majority was shot with 100. A great feature, may not be needed very much, but when it is, very powerful. There is one thing I did neglect to say. If I wanted to record, let's say, all of the images that were shot with a wide-angle lens up to 35mm, then I can just tick all of these. So we can add one box to another. So now I can see that whole group, everything that I shot using lenses from 15mm to 35mm. And to remove them, we just untick the box, of course. I'll see you next time.